start our session. Yeah, thank you so much. Okay, let's start. Okay, I hope everyone is able to see my screen. Everyone is able to see my screen? A quick thumbs up from anyone? No sound. I hope everyone is able to hear me. Yeah, okay. So, Bhavesh, I think if there's an issue from your side, probably please to check if everyone is able to hear me. Okay. So hello everyone. Today we are going to have another sustainability session. So let's see what we have in the agenda today. A quick uh, we have this another PM forum session. So all those who are new to this PM forum session, just a quick intro about PM forum. So these are basically the format specifically for people joining for the first time. This is a PM forum is a format used by PMI chapters for discussion, networking among project professionals, knowledge sharing and all. Uh, I would say it was a valuable way to stay up to date on industry trends, learn new techniques, and build, relationships with other project managers and all. So this is a good, start from your networking and all. So today's our agenda is a quick introduction. So let me try to start with introducing myself. Sorry, I forgot that. So I'm Renu Mehta. Hello, everyone. And I'm representing PMI Mumbai chapter, currently volunteering as a PMI VP at Professional Development. And let's start with today we are having Geetaji. So it's my pleasure to welcome today our distinguished speaker for today's PM Forum session, Ms. Geeta Gopal. So Geeta is the founder and CEO of G Infinity Consulting Services, where she advises organizations on climate tech, artificial intelligence, enterprise transformation, and digital infrastructure. So her contributions to the profession have, earned her several prestigious recognitions, including a PMI Future 50, an honor celebrating the world's top project management innovator. She has also been recognized as World 100 CIO and CIO SCM, reflecting her leadership in driving technology transformations across organizations and industries. So with over 2 decades of her experience, spanning enterprise, AI, digital infrastructure, national digital platforms, climate technology across multiple countries, Geeta has brings a unique perspective of how technology and sustainability are converging to reshape the future of infrastructure. So today she'll help us explore an increasingly relevant topic, how artificial intelligence is transforming infrastructure from data centers to smart cities, and what this means to responsible, resilient, sustainable, and future-ready projects. Now, one thing I always would like to have is please to keep your mobiles handy. So, because there is one question that is coming up in a while, so be ready to keep your, click on the QR scanner code. QR code will be displayed in some while. But before that, let's welcome Ms. Geeta. Hello, Geeta, and we welcome you all to our session. Uh, Geeta, hi.
Hi. Thank you, Reno. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, but I couldn't
Okay.
see you. So if you can switch on your more video. Yeah, I can see you now.
No, yeah, actually it was on. Let me try again.
Yeah, yeah,
How about now?
yeah, it's good now.
Okay, great. Thank you so
Thank you.
much for the kind words and the warm welcome. It's lovely to collaborate with the PMI Mumbai chapter. And thank you for your kind words. And I could see a lot of people on a Saturday morning. It's really nice. So, Reno, may I go ahead and share my screen?
Yeah, you want to put that question? Let me know when you want to put
Yeah.
that question. Yeah.
Let's
Okay.
get the session started and then we will go on to the this questions. All
Oh
right,
yeah.
thank you.
Sure.
Okay, let me share my screen, Renu. Just advise it.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yes.
Right.
We are able to see your screen. Yeah. Yeah.
And
That's
is it
better.
full screen?
Yes. Yes. Thank you so much.
Full screen. Okay. Yeah. All
Yeah.
right. So let's get started. Hi, everyone. Good morning. And my name is Geeta Gopal, based in Singapore, but I'm originally from Chennai. I'm a Chennai girl, grew up in Chennai, studied in Chennai, did all my bachelor's and my master's in Chennai, and then moved to Singapore after I got married. And then I settled down here. It's been 17 years living away from India, but I'm very much connected to my roots and work very closely with the PMI communities all around the world. And today we will discuss a little bit about my experiences in the world of carbon, IT infrastructure, AI, data centers, and so on. So the topic that we are going to talk about is sustainable infrastructure in the age of AI. And what does that mean for data centers to smart cities and the way we operate right now? And as project leaders, how are we actually intertwined in all of this? And what do we need to do to be able to take on the new projects that are coming in? How is the project management world going to get changed because of the of sustainability and infrastructure changes that are happening in the world? So that's what we'll talk about today. But I would, like I told Reno, I would like it to be very much an interactive session. It should not be a monologue. I want your questions and your thoughts and feedback as well, right? Because for me, this is also an opportunity for me to learn from you guys, different experiences and thought processes. So please feel free to post your questions, interrupt me wherever you want through the chat, and then I think Renu will advise me if there's any pressing questions. And also at the end of the session, we can have a proper Q&A as well. Yeah, with that, let's get started. Renu, can you see my second screen?
Yes. Yes. Please go
Okay,
ahead.
yes. Yeah, so that's me. Um, like I said, I'm based in Singapore and I have a company called as G Infinity Consulting. And I specialize in climate technologies. AI is my background, data center is my background. I'll explain a little bit about how, when the whole world is going into AI and data centers, I've done this when they were legacy, right? When AI was a legacy stuff, when, was just getting explored. And then when data centers was like a very, very boring industry. I'll explain a little bit about that when we go to the next slides. But my background actually is IT infrastructure, and I've done a lot of AI research work for companies like Mercedes-Benz and Panasonic. I'm a very much a corporate person. For 14 years, I worked in Mercedes-Benz and Panasonic together, and then I moved on to a startup, a climate tech startup called as Verdana, where I was the COO and the CTO. And then from there on, I've now branched out into consulting, and I'm having my own consulting company. So that's my background. And, like Renu said a lot about all the recognition, everything. Actually, I never chased any of it. I always ensured that I did my job properly. I'm a project manager, regular project manager, like everybody. And the only thing that I did differently in my life so far, that has, put me on a pedestal, actually, to be honest, which I feel I don't deserve, is actually because I've always done different things. When something new comes up, I was never hesitant to take it on, right? And those projects which people always laugh about or people are scared to take on, right? Like, or difficult clients or projects which are failing, it would always get passed on to me. And in my when I worked for Mercedes-Benz for about 9.5 years, I worked for Mercedes-Benz. It was my first job in Singapore. So I started as a project coordinator, very much from the bottom, right? I wouldn't even have a seat at the table, right? There'll be like 150 men in the IT infrastructure team, and I was the only woman. I was 25 years old, first job, and in a foreign country, no background, and then 150 men, and I'm the only girl. They just needed a coordinator. They hired me short term. But 3-month contract became a 6-month contract. 6-month contract became a project manager for a large project. And then a project manager became a program manager. And then I went on to lead all their difficult projects like data center migrations and identifying large, massive data centers. I'm talking about $15 million investments like 15 years ago, that was a big deal. Today, people talk about billion-dollar data centers. 15 years ago, it was not a very common thing. But then, from a normal project coordinator, I grew stage after stage simply because I was not hesitant to take on things that I've never done before, right? And sometimes I also used to fail, right? Like everybody, a failure was also part of my life. But that never stopped me. I always took failure as life lessons. And in fact, today, if I can say, I have done all of IT infrastructure work, I have done AI, I have done data centers, and I can go on stage and speak confidently. That's simply because I was never hesitant to take on new things. And today, I have like a portfolio of things that I can talk about. I can talk about infrastructure, I can talk about digital transformation, I can talk about AI, I can talk about data centers, and I can talk about now sustainability for the last 5 years. And simply because every new opportunity that came, I looked at it as something to learn. And it was never about money for me. It was never about, where this is going to get me or what kind of promotion am I going to get. In fact, it never gave me any promotion. It just kept giving me more and more difficult projects, right? More and more bigger volume projects, bigger budget projects. And suddenly, in 10 years down the lane, I became a mega project manager. I could manage very, very, very large budgets that if I had not had that mindset, those rewards wouldn't have come. So if I have to start who I am, I think that's what I would summarize as who I am and where I started. And today I can, now we'll talk a little bit about sustainability. But like I said, my background, my core, everything is data centers and IT infrastructure. And let's go on to I have a question for you guys before I start, right? Like, Renu, this is where I want you to help me to present the
Yes,
questions, please.
sure, sure. Let me share my screen. Uh, So I hope everyone is able to see my screen. So you can quickly scan this QR code, or if you want, you can just go to booklab.com and type this event code. Yeah, we will just let's wait for a while the others sign in. You can also click on this link. Let's wait for a few seconds. Hello, everyone. Please do join. We have 54 participants. Please do join quickly. I will wait for 10 more seconds.
I think this is a question
Thank you.
relevant for all. Yeah.
Yes, yes. So, hello, please do join. I hope everyone is with their mobile. Okay. For those who have not, couldn't scan the QR code, can go to this booklab.com. I have shared the link as well. Let's move to the question. The the code is also displayed over here if you haven't joined. And yes, please do start voting for this. Those who have not joined also can join again and just please type in. So, Geeta, I hope you are able to see the results on my screen as well.
Yes, yes. I think we should.
Yeah,
There's 16 out of 23 so far. 1723 is updating.
yes, yes. So I think we have the highest from the IT infrastructure,
Yeah, it makes me
39%.
smile already. I feel so nice. Yeah.
Okay, I think anyone still voting would like to vote? I'll again wait for 10 more seconds and then we can start our session. It's going to be a very interesting session. I think let's you can start and stop sharing. So yeah, you
Renu, can
want to?
you? Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
please.
sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
could
yes,
you
yes,
kindly
sure.
share that? And also
Yeah,
tell
yeah,
me, Renu,
sure.
how much time do we have from here, please?
So we are at 10:20. I think we have around 1 hour and 10 minutes,
Okay,
20
sure.
minutes.
Then I
Yeah,
will time accordingly. Thank you.
yeah, yeah.
And 1 hour, 10 minutes for the presentation and then the Q&A. Is that
Yes,
right?
yes, yes.
Okay, great. I think that's great.
So yeah, here is the result.
Okay, thank you guys. Thank you everyone for participating. It's really, makes me very happy to see, the highest is IT infrastructure. As much as I've done so many things, my heart is very partial to IT infrastructure. Um, Great to see you guys here. Because without infrastructure, that's the core, right? That's the core foundation of everything. That's great. And then I can also see a lot of data center colleagues, and then we have sustainability, and then buildings, roads, etc. This actually gives me a good idea of what I'll explain to you why I asked this question. Right? Let's go on, and I'll continue to share my screen, Renu.
Yes, thank you so much.
So,
I'll
guys, please
stop.
post your questions as we go forward. Right? Don't let this not just be a monologue. Please post your questions for me, and Renu will interrupt me when needed. All right. Yeah. So why I asked this question is, well, whether you have worked on buildings or sustainability or smart city, etc. Right? Because today, if you see, these are all becoming one industry. Why do I say that? Right? Today, the demarcation or the difference between a construction project and a digital project and an environmental project is actually dissolving. Or in my opinion, it's already dissolved, right? Almost, let's take a construction of an airport, for example, right? Like a new terminal, excuse me. A new terminal construction is no longer a physical construction, right? There you need IT systems. There you need aircraft systems. There you need, the environmental accountability or aspectability of it, right? The sustainability aspect of it. Not just today when they are building the project, but long term, right? When as long as the terminal is going to be functional and even beyond its lifetime. Right? So the project is no longer standalone. You cannot call a project now as a construction project. You cannot call yourself, I'm just working on IT, I'm just working on sustainability. Like now our lives are actually intertwined with all of this. So there are three aspects, in my opinion, which is already taken effect already, which like I say here, the physical aspects of a project, the digital or the technical systems behind it, and the environmental aspects of it. So these three are all becoming one. And if you go back to the previous one, right, all of this that you see here is all intertwined, right? You take a smart city project. Do you think a smart city can function without cloud infrastructure? Do you think smart city projects can function without manufacturing? And do you think a road construction can function without sustainability? Do you think a project can sustain without the infrastructure, IT infrastructure behind it? So it's all intertwined, right? And we can no longer call ourselves as standalone project managers. That's the first mindset. If you ask me, we should all have, or we are all trying to grapple with, right? So that's why I asked this question, and I hope you all, kind of agree and align with that thought process. Now let's move on to the agenda for today, right? We'll talk about how infrastructure itself is getting redefined, the three aspects that I just spoke about it, and what it means for project management, and then we'll do a little bit AI infrastructure deep dive, and then we'll talk about sustainability from the lens of infrastructure. Then we'll talk about smart cities as such, and then finally, what do we need as project managers to deliver the next generation stuff? Okay, so let's get started with the first one. Like I already said, right, in my experience of two decades of working, across sectors, you see, I started my career in Mercedes Benz. For 9.5 years, I worked there, and for 9.5 years, my thought process was all about, oh, I work for a car company. My company sells cars, luxury cars. It has like a reputation, and it's a brand on its own. That was always my thought process. I never cared for how is my company polluting the earth. right? I've never cared. All I cared about is, oh, building data centers. Applications should work on Monday morning after a critical migration, and we should be able to sell cars on Monday morning without any issues. This was always my thought process. But then when I moved on to the next company, Panasonic, my thought process shifted a little, because Panasonic is a much larger scope that I had, where I was responsible for 73 group companies, which ranged from manufacturing to office to dealers, etc. So that was another ball game on its own. It was massive accountability, and I'm talking about the largest manufacturing facilities for Panasonic in Southeast Asia, outside Japan. And to be accountable for tech IT for that was really nerve wracking for me, because every weekend I will have at least two go lives, and every year I delivered 160 projects, IT infrastructure projects for Panasonic. Like 160, not 10 or 20, right? Like in 160, one project will be digital transformation of all of factories. And that itself will be like 20 million in budget. So you can just imagine the scale, right? So going from one sector to another is already a transformation. And then third, I went on to the carbon market, where I had to build applications for carbon accounting for buildings and electric vehicles, etc. That was when my mindset totally changed. Everything is not about technology. Everything is not about ensuring Monday morning everything works, right? There's much more to it. But what is the impact of the work that you're doing, right? How can you make a change in the world in your own way? And that is when I decided there's no going back. I'm not going to go back to a corporate company and work on goals of corporates. I'm going to take on real world projects and do whatever I can. I'm not saying everybody should do that, but you see, for me, having like 15, 16 years of experience behind before I made that decision actually is transformational for me, because I've seen that, and then I've seen another world as well. And it was a conscious decision that I had to take. And in this journey, what was one thing that I realized? Infrastructure is no longer the same infrastructure that I did 20 years ago. And the definition of critical infrastructure has changed drastically. Three reasons, in my opinion, three factors why this transformation has happened, right? The first one was COVID, right? When COVID hit in 2020, before COVID, if you remember our lives, we couldn't even take one day of work from home, right? Who had the concept of work from home? Almost nobody, right? Like it was like unheard of, and only in emergencies and family situations, etc. For that, you have to have 100 approvals. And when COVID hit, suddenly everybody, the same companies which said you cannot have work from home, insisted that you must work from home, right? That itself is a transformation or a mindset change. Did we just work from home like that? No. Technology had to support us, right? And those technologies that were already there, like for example, Zoom didn't come up just during COVID, right? Zoom was already there. And it just was nice. It was at the right time, at the right place, and that it just transformed the way we work. And similarly, other technologies as well. I'm not just naming one company or one example, but the technologies that were ready, the infrastructure that was already ready for the future, or which were able to adapt to the future, were the ones that thrived, right? So that was the first step. And during COVID, the transformation that happened was mind blowing, right? And I have gone on stages and I've spoken about how COVID is the digital transformation accelerant of the decade. We cannot expect anything for the next 10 years. We are already there. And today I change my stance. I'm wrong. You know why? Because COVID is actually just one instance. And after COVID, what happened? What happened after COVID, right? When we tried to go back to our normal lives and lead normal lives, what happened between 2020 and 2022? OpenAI and ChatGPT was launched, right? End of 2022, ChatGPT was launched. And when it was launched, just see the scale at which it transformed all our lives. And that was the second, accelerant, in my opinion, of critical infrastructure acceleration. And when that happened, everybody had to grapple with it. Right now, suddenly everybody had to become an AI expert. You had to adapt, and you had to, change your business model, change your technologies to be able to compete and to survive. Right. So that is a second digital accelerant, in my opinion, for infrastructure. And then it didn't stop there, right? Did ChatGPT or did AI advancements stop there? No, right? What's happening right now? Today, all the biggest investments of companies, you take Microsoft, you take Google, where is the money going? Any guesses? Can somebody put in the chats for me? I just want to see. What do you guys think? Where's the money going today in terms of expenditures from big companies? Yes, 100%. 100% data centers. The biggest infrastructure is data centers, building data centers, and not just data centers, it is the infrastructure. So all you guys are right, right? Money spending is going into building data centers, but data centers are no longer data centers that I have done 15 years ago. Today, if you ask me, if you put me in to manage a data center, I will struggle, because today's data centers are not what they were when I was doing data centers 15 years ago. It's a whole transformation, and we need different skill sets to manage this, right? So yeah, you guys are right. So today all the money is going into building these kinds of critical infrastructure. So this is the third accelerant, and those companies, every company literally has to survive this round. And very quickly, I mean, I think we discussed this, but let's talk about the new view. I hope you guys can see my screen again, Renu.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Yeah. So all, like I said, right, earlier you used to talk about infrastructure means roads or whatever you can see. And today, the things you can or cannot see, but you will feel it, right? Like AI infrastructure, roads, data centers, colos, cloud platforms, all of this will have a physical aspect, will also have a digital aspect. And I mark carbon infrastructure in red because this is a very, very, very distinct thing that is actually transforming the way the whole infrastructure game is being dealt with, right? It's a game, in my opinion, because everything is not done with noble intentions. Put it frankly, right? You have to invest in data centers. You have to exploit the resources, the limited resources that the earth has. But you also, that is for economic gains. But you also have to worry about the earth, right? So it has to be a delicate balance. We'll come to this in the next slides. So infrastructure, like I said, in summary, is no longer physical. It's physical, digital, and environmental. And the infrastructure paradox I want to talk about next. Like I said earlier, right? Infrastructure creates prosperity, but infrastructure also creates emissions. Can you separate the two? Can we have like prosperity without polluting the earth? What do you guys think? Put again in the chat for me, please. Do you think we can have prosperity without impacting the earth? No, I agree with you guys. It is impossible to have, yeah, there's always a trade-off, right? It's what you give, what you get, and how much can you take, how much can you not take? Yeah, yeah. If we try, yes. Um, Actually, sometimes I feel very guilty. That I talk a lot, but is there's nothing much also I can also do in my own work. Sometimes I just have to close my eyes to a lot of things, simply because, yeah, that's the scope of the project, or that's the benefit of the project. And does it have an impact on the environment? Yes, it has. So yes. And this is a tension that every project leader must navigate, right? Like all of us going forward, these are decisions that we have to take, isn't it? And today, there are four distinct industries that cause global emissions. Earlier, it was mainly transportation, construction, like mainly cement. If you see, cement was one of the highest polluters. And today, cement is actually taking a back step when compared to the digital transformation, data centers and manufacturing, and the compute, the resources that we use for AI compute, that takes much more resources than cement and coal production has done for the earth. I'm sure you will all agree. And sad to say, it didn't happen over a period of 100 years. It has happened over a period of less than 3 years. Like between COVID and 2022 also, the impact was not, let's say, if in my scale it will be 20, but after COVID, after COVID and now, the impact is the remaining 80. So yeah, so that's the background. Like that's the gloom that we spoke about. But let's talk a little bit about, we all have to make our, earn our bread. So we all have to adapt, right? And in terms of adaptation, let's talk a little bit about AI infrastructure and do a little bit deep dive from my lens. So now, in my opinion, AI is not a software, right? I'm sure you all agree. I'm sure every day in your lives, it's not about, you see that it's not just using Copilot. It's not just using the AI tools or building AI tools. It's more than that. AI itself is infrastructure. And every resource that we access using AI is costing, it's actually putting a big pressure on that paradox that I told you about between economic gains and making sustainable decisions for the world. And why is that so? There was one interview that I saw, which says, do not use words like please or thank you when you use your AI chatbots. And I was wondering why. And they say if you use extra words, unnecessary words like conversational words, that's going to consume more resources. Yes, you have to use tools like these, but just be precise, give specific instructions, use command language so that the impact that you're having is less, right? Even if you use an extra word called please in one of your commands, that's actually going to cause extra load, which is of no use. So again, this is a conscious mindset that we need to have, and that I'm actually every day I try to follow that, so that I don't waste resources. I have to, I'm running a consulting company. Do you think I can do business in today's world without relying on these tools? I have access to almost all the latest AI tools that you have in the market. As much as I say, oh, I want to save the earth, etc. Why? Because I can't run a business without this. And how many resources can I hire as a, as a single man consulting company? I have to rely on AI tools for everything, right? But how I use that, I try to be conscious. I learn, and when I learn, I try to adapt. So, like I said, massive computing, 24 bar 7, massive power consumption, extensive cooling requirements, and massive connectivity needs as well. What is the impact of all of this? So, AI cannot function on its own. It needs all of this, and we have to close our eyes, unfortunately, for all of this. And why AI loads are different, I just explained to you, because we have to start thinking differently. It's no longer building data centers, right? And the today, let's talk about the AI workloads, right? Like 15 years ago, our the data center racks were only about 2 kilowatt. 2 kilowatt, about 90 racks, I can run a whole company, like 30, 40, across 30, 40 countries. Just 100 racks, 200 racks with 2 to 5 kilowatt, per rack. I could power a company as big as Mercedes-Benz in Asia. But today, it is impossible. I cannot even manage one country's workload with that capacity, right? And today, it's like 80 to 150 plus kilowatt rack. This and all is unheard of, right? In my times, we used to have like 20 kilowatt rack only for storage and network devices. And that also will be standalone network devices where you have like 15 kilowatt to 20 kilowatt. And that itself was mind blowing in resource consumption. But today they're talking about 150 plus 200 kilowatt rack. And what kind of resources is it going to take? Do you think the technology is ready to support all of this? You can see 1,000 companies coming up, and then 1,000 companies becoming unicorns because of this and that, this technology and that technology. Do you really think they're solving all these problems? I can confidently tell you the answer is no. Nobody can solve these real world problems. And what's going to be the impact of this? Can we do anything about it? I'm not sure. But this again, as a project manager, every technology that we put into our project, every resource that we consume for a project, we just have to make conscious decisions. That's all you can do, from an individual perspective. Yeah. And then there are three aspects of how a simple AI prompt can touch the physical infrastructure. You guys are already there. I saw you guys are from the data center background, infrastructure background. So this may not be relevant for you, but for those who don't know, right? You just have a facility, right, where your racks sit. And then on top of it comes your cloud platform. And on top of it comes your application layer. But going forward, all of these will be intensely used. Earlier, you could distinguish whether the facility is at stress, or the infrastructure is at stress, or the application layer is at stress. Today, that difference is no longer there. If there is an intensity on because of AI requirements, it is an intensity for all of these, not just one anymore. So earlier we used to put always the blame on the application layer is not done properly. Oh, infrastructure setup is not done properly. Oh, it's the facilities problem. Today, it's no longer that. One problem is everybody's problem. Yeah. And mostly as project managers, this is what we have to deal with going forward. It's no longer be, oh, it's not my scope anymore. We can never say that and get away with it. And then let's talk a little bit about data centers, across Southeast Asia. So I want to mention one thing very, very distinctly. Do not see data centers as back office IT facilities anymore. Data centers are national strategic assets. What does that mean? That means it has to do with data policies of countries and regulations of countries and how we use data, where we store data, how we put data, what kind of encryptions do we have, what kind of data do we share across borders. All this, right, is actually a national level game. Any mistake any company makes on this is going to cost all the way up to the stock impact, right? So it's like earlier when there were issues with data centers and so on, it would only be company specific impact. Today, if there is a breach, it will be considered, or it can go to the impact of having national level repercussions, right? That is also mind blowing. In 15 years, the whole transformation is totally different in terms of impact and repercussions. And if you take countries, for example, India. Oh God, India is really at the cusp of all of this, right? The investments that are coming in, then the resources that are being used for this. Economically, very good, but environmentally, we'll see that. And the next market that I'm also exploring is Australia, because Australia, not now, for the last 15 years, even before that, Australia had very, very stringent data protection laws, meaning Australian data cannot be moved out of Australia. So, when we used to have data centers, all consolidated in Singapore for the whole of South of Asia. Australian data centers would sit within Australia, meaning the data would always reside within Australia. And, transferring data between Australia and other countries was always a problem because of that. And also the connectivity, etc. But today that gap is actually, the gap is actually going down. But that's not the point. The point is countries which already had those kinds of regulations, etc., are already advanced on this AI race. And countries like us who are just developing policies for data protection, keeping data within their own countries, are actually slightly far behind, if I would say. And Europe is on top of this, right? They have very, very stringent data protection guidelines, etc. So, in my opinion, Europe is really sorted, in containing this problem. At least they are very, very empowered. And if you guys are in positions to make these decisions, my request is that we have to take data protections very, very seriously. And it's no longer about infrastructure. It's like, why are we having infrastructure? And based on what policies should our infrastructure be? That's the mindset we should have. And then let's look, because I'm based in Singapore. My focus is very much on Singapore and Malaysia. Singapore is actually a very small country, as you know, 38 square kilometers, and there's no land. And so what we are doing is we are having near shore concepts, right? Like Malaysia is just across the border for us, just one bridge away, short drive away. And there's a state called Johor in Malaysia where they have set up free zones and data center parks where we host our data centers there. And like kind of, sharing resources across the borders. And then Indonesia and Philippines. Indonesia, as you know, is the largest digital infrastructure market in Southeast Asia, like the largest, and they're because of their population. So their requirement or dependency on digital services are very, very high. And that's again driving there. But do they have the resources? The answer is no. Similarly for Philippines. And Thailand and Vietnam are slightly different because they are actually bringing in investments through regulations and other infrastructure readiness, and that they are actually trying to bring in investments because of by changing their policies to support that. This is just to give you guys a landscape of the Southeast Asian market. And why India matters. Like I do study India a lot, and people always ask me, can we do data center projects in India? I have land. Can we develop data center parks here? And I will tell them, please don't. I don't want to work with you. Just leave. Please kindly excuse me. You know why? It's not because I don't want to work in India. Simply because I feel that it'll be unjust to take on resources that could be used for other things, right? if what yeah, of course we can all make money, a lot of money, by investing in building data centers in India, right? Because of very heavy foreign investment, and you build a data center, it will be taken up immediately. I know that. But is that the right thing to do? My conscience does not allow that. Why? Because we have scarcity of resources, right? I grew up in India. I grew up in Chennai, where water was always our biggest problem, in especially during summer months. We had borewell at home, but even the borewell would dry up, and then we had to buy water from outside, and pump into our tanks, so to go through the summer months. And we had money, we could do that. But what about the people who cannot afford it? That always sticks with me, right? And I say no to things consciously, simply because it's the right thing to do. And does that mean India should not do data center projects? Unfortunately, that is also not possible. But again, this is a paradox, right? This is like a double-edged sword. But all I'm saying is, all our investments, especially in India, should be very, very careful. We have to be very careful, right? The West has a lot of money, but India has very limited resources. And if there is one, message that I want to pass, to people working in this industry, is to be conscious of this mindset. Yeah. And but trust me, the biggest money to India also comes through data centers. You see, I don't want to name companies, but the last 2 months I've been following the news, and the in Visakhapatnam, and especially across the coastal states, you have very heavy investments from Western companies, and they are also setting up great renewable energy resources to support themselves. They are setting up extensive fiber networks, and then they are influencing policies and regulations because of these investments that they are bringing in. And plus, of course, we have the talent pool, right? India has huge talent pool. And finally, in terms of readiness, Mumbai, Hyderabad, Chennai, Bangalore, they're all already ready for all of this, right? In terms of as metropolitans, they're all ready to embrace this kind of investments. So these are the factors why I believe India's, how India is getting influenced to, embrace more data centers. And yeah, this we have discussed, so I'll skip this. But just one last point here. Just remember, the AI requirements are 10 times more what it was earlier, like minimum 10 times more. And that's not a good thing. And we spoke a little bit about impact, right? Let me talk about a few things, right? You have power requirements, right? And you have cooling requirements. You have the floor and structural design also has to be very, very strong. And then you have water requirements. These are the four fundamental things that, when you are talking about high density AI data centers, these are the four things. But look at it from an India perspective. What impact will these investments have in the power, in our already stressed power systems? And then what kind of impact? We already spoke about energy consumption, cooling, resources, in terms of resources. And then in terms of flooring and structure, yes, we do have a lot of land. Land is definitely not a problem for us. We can get land if we want. That's what I'm trying to say, right? Like but what is the impact on the geography as well? And then finally, the water requirements that I roughly mentioned about. So these are real world problems. And let's talk a little bit about cooling, because I'm a data center person. I just love to talk about it. Bear with me 2 minutes, and then we'll go on to the next one. So there are, like, if you take cooling, right, it's no longer primary regular cooling that we've been used to, right, where you just cool a rack. The whole room is cooled with a C racks, crack units, we call them, computer room air conditioners. So it's no longer that. Then after that came individual server cabinet cooling, and it's no longer that as well. And then you had direct liquid cooling. It's also changing, it's also going away from liquid cooling, right? About now, liquid cooling could only support up to 80 to 100 kilowatt per rack. That is itself is an overstretch for liquid cooling. But now we're going into immersion cooling. Immersion cooling means, imagine servers getting submerged in dielectric fluid, and then that will support all the way up to 150 and the 200 plus kilowatt. What I'm trying to say here is, this is how, just you take cooling, for example, has changed in the last 15 years. Usually, 15 years ago, the transformation would have just been within air cooling. Maybe it would have gone into Rado cooling. But in the last 5 years, 5 years ago when COVID happened, direct liquid cooling was the solution. Today, after the AI and the data center hype, it's immersion cooling. And companies are, when I said that we are not equipped to, meet these demands, this is exactly what I mean, right? Our technologies are no longer massively or mass scale available for immersion cooling. It's just coming up, and it's all trial technologies, right? You get billion-dollar investments, but that does not make it available for everyone. What is the impact, residue impact, that of not having these technologies when you're already building infrastructure? Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about, from a project manager's perspective, right? If you're in a data center and you have to make decisions, doing data center projects, and if you have to make decisions, what kind of implications will this have for you, right? It's no longer about just, doing a design and setting up systems, right? You have to think about what it means, not only today when you're doing your scope. What does it mean tomorrow? Does it mean for the customers? What will be the impact? What are the risks long term? It's no longer project risk, scope, time, cost within the project. It's beyond. And that actually is, again, something that we need to think about more from an operations perspective, from a long term sustainability perspective as well. And I do support some clients, in the data center industry. And all of them, the only thing that I tell them is, please do things that are future proof, ready for the future. Don't plan for today's market. Do not make any systems for today's market. Build things that what we will need 3 years down the lane. Only then whatever you build will be useful, and it will reach, and you will also make, economic gains from that. Yeah, so this is a practical rule of thumb which we have. Like, if your rack density exceeds 30 kilowatt, you should already look at liquid cooling alternatives, right? Like, no need to even think, no need for people to, this is just a mindset. If it's already going beyond a certain threshold, or if you're expecting to go beyond a certain threshold, already look at the next best technologies that you need and plan for your projects. And then one last, statistics about India I want to leave you guys with on this topic before we move on. This actually, I saw this from WRI recently, and it actually broke my heart. This is exactly what I told you guys, the investors from India, why I don't want to do data center projects in India. Can you guys read this? Is it visible enough?
I think maybe you can tell Zoom it or something.
Zoom it. Let me try to zoom it because
Yeah.
it's super important. Yeah. Can you, I think it's better now, right?
Yeah. A
Hmm.
little better. Yeah.
Okay, so the heading itself says more than 75% of India's data centers are in water stressed regions. That means, what are the water stressed states? Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Telangana, and UP. And 75% of our data centers, about 300 data centers we have, and 75% of them are in water stress states, meaning people don't have water for drinking. And we are building massive data centers there. So this is the fact. Do we really, is this the right thing to do for economic gains? I don't know. So, this is something we need to be very, very conscious about. Yeah, so sorry to make it very gloomy, but this is the reality, right? As much as we should talk about all the golden things, we should also talk about the dark things behind what we are doing. And I'm very, very much conscious about all of this. Right. So now let's go into, that's the AI, right? AI is a double-edged sword. Let's finish it like that. Now let's talk about sustainability, right? This is my new bread and butter. And so when like 5 years ago, sustainability was very much a green building things, right? Like, even in Singapore, it was like that. All of Singapore's initiatives, most of it was around green buildings, having buildings with, certain specifications, and then having certain energy efficiency requirements. That was it. But today, I think it has gone way, way beyond that energy efficiency narrative, right? And as project leaders, when you're, doing projects, we should think about the environmental and operational dimensions, not just about how we build buildings, isn't it? And Another thing is that, like, I'm sure you guys have, have worked on or have heard about circular economy. And if you go to Europe and ask what is sustainability to them, the first thing they will tell you is circular economy. How do you reuse? How do you design systems with minimum minimum wastage? And how do you recycle? That's their mindset. They grow up with that mindset, right? And then let's take a country like India, where digitalization and leveraging technology has always, that is really our thing, right? Like that's what we really want to do. And then look at countries where they focus very much on water efficiency. And even Singapore in that way is very water efficient, right? They measure how much everyone uses, and they have rating systems, they have penalties, etc. So some countries do take this seriously. And then climate resilience is very much a keyword or a buzzword. And UN and World Bank and the other organizations emphasize and talk about it. They come up with a lot of programs to support it, etc. But do you think every person has this mindset? Answer is no. It's like, what I'm trying to say is, like, it's all individual, right? Some of us adapt energy efficiency, some of us adapt circular economy, and some of us support digital optimization in our own way. Some of us do a carbon accounting. But it should be all of it, right? It cannot be one thing. It should be across. That's the message here. And then let's go all of this and then I will explain. So earlier, right, when we were talking about carbon related infrastructure or sustainability related infrastructure, it used to be about cost and performance, right? If you reduce electricity, you will save money. That was the mindset. But now we have to talk about, oh, what's the impact for the earth? How much of carbon am I reducing because of that? Today, my whole company, my whole consulting is based on this model, right? Like, I help clients to help them to measure their carbon, reduce their carbon, in a massive scale, so that they can go on and earn carbon credits for that they can commercialize. That is my business. But it's not just from a business perspective, right? From an earth perspective, from a perspective of this planet, it still has a meaning. Why? Because we are doing massive projects. We are preventing carbon from entering into the at Earth's atmosphere, and thereby there is economic gain. So it's still a good thing. Again, it's a mindset. There can be, what I'm trying to say is, there can be economic benefits, and there can be a balance as well, right? So it's like, are we consciously doing that, is the question. And cost, performance, carbon. A company or organization that masters all these three will have a competitive edge over the next decade. Like, when I say this, I mean all the big companies, right? Like, let's take a company like Microsoft or OpenAI. The moment they are able to change their narrative that they are good for the earth, don't you think their stock prices will increase automatically? The way people embrace their products will change automatically, right? That's what they are all working towards, right? Like, let's take Tesla, for example. One of the reasons, or one of the push factors for Tesla has always been, we are good for the earth. 10 years ago, when I used to work with Mercedes-Benz, Tesla was not even in our competitor list. We would, every year in our annual reporting, we would only see numbers from BMW and from other German Audi and Mercedes-Benz as comparison. Nobody spoke about Tesla. Why? Because Tesla was thought of as an electric car company. Nobody in my organization at that point of time really took it seriously that 3-4 years later, Tesla would become the highest seller, at least in the markets that we were operating in at that time. And it happened 3 years later, when the reality stuck. They had to grapple, right? Then they had to launch new electric lines and change their fleet models, etc., to manage that impact. But those companies like Tesla, which already thought ahead and which pushed forward ahead, We're already far ahead of the game. And if you ask me whether we can quantify it or not, do you think, if you ask me, do you think Tesla as a company would fit all of this cost, performance, and carbon? The answer is yes, when compared to its competitors. Am I saying Tesla is not polluting? Am I saying companies like the electric car companies are not polluting? All I'm saying is they think differently, and that makes all the difference. And it is possible to have a balance between cost, performance, and carbon. And those companies that master this will be ahead of the curve. They have already been ahead of the curve earlier, and they will continue to be in the next decade as well. Yeah. So yeah, I'll skip all of this thing. We've been talking too much about my favorite topic, and yeah. So let's go into a little bit about digital twins. I'm sure because you guys, given your background, you must have heard about digital twins. For those that don't know, please bear with me. I'll give you a little bit of quick explanation of what is a digital twin. Right, a digital twin is a real-time model or a virtual model of a physical system. Like let's say and take a data center for example. You can build the entire data center virtually as with its digital twin. That means if somewhere some switch goes down, your digital twin will be, which is connected to it through sensors and other means and other protocols, will be able to prompt so that you can see virtually what's happening in a physical data center. As you know, getting access to data centers is very hard, right? You have minimum 5 levels of security to get into data centers, and it's a massive process on its own, right? There's so much of procedures you need to follow to get into data centers and approvals and so on. For that kind of critical infrastructure, a digital twin used to make sense. But today, not just for critical infrastructure, right? Almost for managing any infrastructure, a digital twin makes sense. Imagine an airport terminal, like how vast an airport terminal is. Can you control all the systems in an airport terminal sitting in one place today? Yeah, some countries can, but it's still very much standalone, right? And one of the solution to solve this problem is a digital twin, and where you can connect the entire infrastructure into a virtual landscape and manage and monitor things, and hopefully handle problems better. So that's a digital twin. And why is it important, right? Because these are the things that as project managers we need to be mindful of when we are building systems. It's no longer about building and handing over and moving on. Are we putting enough digital twin like things in place while we are doing our projects, so that after our project is over, when it goes on to operations job becomes easier? Sometimes the customers and the clients and the users and don't know what to ask, right? And it becomes our responsibility to be mindful. How will the user benefit from this? How will the operations team, how can we make the lives of the operations teams easier by thinking ahead? That mindset again will actually differentiate you as a project manager. Like if you go sit in an interview and explain how you, if they ask you, what would you do differently as a project manager, I'm sure this is a thought process that many people will resonate with. And if you can accept this mindset and try to work on this mindset, that it's not just about your own scope, time, and cost. It's about how can you as a project manager make the lives of the operations easier even after your project is over. How can you make your project sustainable? How can you make think on behalf of your clients or your customers or your users right at the project stage, and make your scope and your KPIs in line with that, and how can you deliver that? That will make you a different project manager, right? And that will make you sought after. This is just an analogy I can give. And I always give this example about Singapore, right? Like 60 years ago, Singapore was a third world country. And today, Singapore is the fastest growing economy, and like no other. Right? For just 38 square kilometers, not even the size of Chennai, right? It's like maybe one third the size of Chennai. And for that size a country, how is it able to go from a third world country to a first world country, competing with countries like US and Hong Kong? How is it possible? Simply because they have this mindset, sustainability mindset. For the last 60 years, this is what they've been consciously doing. It's in the system that everything they do, they future proof it. They think 20 years ahead, 30 years ahead, and very, very stringent regulations, no forgiving, right? You do it, take your time to do it, but do it right. Think of the people who are going to use it. Is it easy for people to follow it? And they take feedback so seriously. They take feedback super, super, super seriously. It's so mind blowing, right? It's in the system, right? That's why they are successful. And if you look at it, there can be a lot of good and a lot of bad things. But the best thing about them is they take feedback very seriously. They future proof things. They think through, and they don't do the easy things. They do things that are right. That's what makes their country, like sustainable for the last, 60 years as a small country, and today competing with massive, with massive investments around the world. And this is, again, a mindset. I always think Singapore is a project, right? It started as a small project, and even after the project is over, today also it's sustainable in its own way, and the next generations are just following it, because the previous generations who did the project have actually done a superb job, a very, very sustainable job. And that's simply because they have put all of these trackers. They have basically built a digital twin for Singapore. Every government system, every organization, everything comes under accounting, everything comes under tracking, everything comes under reporting. There is no excuse. That is why when you have this kind of, there's a saying, right? If you can't measure something, you cannot manage it. So you need to monitor, you need to measure, and then you need to take action. This is just an example. It's a slight digression, but I hope you get the mindset. Yeah. So let's skip all of this. I really want to go into smart cities next. Does anybody have any questions so far? Renu, I just continue.
Yeah, please continue. We have some questions, many questions, I would say, in the
Okay,
Q&A
that's
section.
good. Okay.
But let's continue for now,
Right.
and we can take it up later on.
Okay. So I'll be very quick now. I think I spoke a lot. I really want to hear the guys. So I'll go through the smart cities, and then there's one more topic, and then I'll wrap up. So yeah, I earlier said a little bit about smart cities, right? My master's research was on smart cities. I researched on mega projects, and I specialized in smart cities. So I've done research on how data actually impacts, or how data supports smart cities, the progress of data of smart cities. That was my research in my master's. So today's smart cities are city plus digital plus environment. Earlier, it used to be city plus digital, 5 years, 7 years ago. Today, the focus is city plus digital plus environment, right? And these are the layers, right, in smart city. Today, almost all cities are trying to become smart cities, where on the top layer, you have the people who use services. And then below that, you have your real-time, usable systems, your digital services. And then below that, your data platforms. And below that, where the data comes from. The data comes from sensors. And below sensors, you have a networking system in place that transmits this data. And below that, you have the cloud infrastructure. And below that, you have the actual physical data center infrastructure. And below that, you have your power and your grids at the base of it. So this is the flow, right? Can we say all cities are smart cities today? The answer is no. But every city is at least trying. And what does that mean for us? That means we are going to get jobs from these, projects. More and more our jobs as project managers. You could be a cloud architect. You could be a network project manager, or you could be an application, project manager, application development project manager. But your industry could definitely come from smart cities in the future. This is really, every city is going to become a smart city in the future, or at least it's already becoming, and our jobs are going to come from here. So we have to take it very seriously. Yeah. So when I say sustainability is no longer an environmental issue, I look at it from three perspectives, right? The first one's from a business strategy perspective. This is what organizations are doing, huh? They're trying to embed sustainability into their operating model, like, oh, my product portfolio I'm changing, from a strategy perspective, to make more sustainable products. Sure, great. And then the second one is national, the look at countries, right? What do countries do today? Every country has NDC commitments, right? Every country is answerable according to the Paris Accord for their nationally determined contributions. And every country is obliged to report their emissions. In that aspect, it's in every country's interest to take on sustainability projects, right? Either through investments or partnerships, or its own investments or outside investments, etc. And then the third aspect of it is reducing overall, as an individual and as organizations, as nations, how do we reduce our dependency on fossil fuels and focus on the environment? These are three important aspects, in my opinion, where currently in today's world, organizations and countries are already going through this mindset or shift. And what does this mean for us? I'll go to this next. What does this mean for us? That means infrastructure planning has to change. Whatever the projects that we are going to do will come from retrofitting, will come from new developments, new infrastructure developments, and then to support those with digital transformation. So when you're transferring from one state to another, right, that is digital transformation. Digitally, that's called digital transformation, right? Today what I'm saying is sustainability is will be greatly driven by digital transformation. It's no longer, it will not be, oh, I'm giving you a new project bring it from state 0 to state 10. It will be, please bring it from state 2 to state 7. Two different things, right? You're not just going to have greenfield projects. You're going to have a lot of brownfield projects. That means it comes with legacy. But trust me, this is what is going to give us jobs. People always think about, oh, AI is coming, AI is going to take up our jobs. But there are a lot of these things that are going to give us jobs. And we need to be smart enough to identify where these investments are happening, what kinds of shifts are happening, so that we can, as project managers, we can build on these our own careers as well. And the keyword that sustainability is no longer an environmental issue is a good thing for us, because it's going to give us our jobs. And what do we learn from this? We cannot think about scope, time, schedule, cost, and risk anymore. That I'm sure you already know. I'm sure you guys are already following. But what else is needed? These are the other things that we need to be ready with as future project managers, right? See, I have put scope, time, cost, risk in all one line. Then there's like, oh, from my project, how can I measure my carbon emission? How can I ensure that my project is energy efficient? How can I ensure that my data practices are top notch? How can I build resilience through the projects that I'm building? And how can I harness AI? If you're a project manager who can do all of this, the next project will come to you. You don't have to go apply for a job, right? If you're able to embody all of this, not just talk about scope, time, cost, and risk, the next projects will come in search of you. Yeah, so we are no longer delivery specialists, right? We have to think like a sustainability architect. We have to think like a data strategist. We have to think like a resilience planner. But yeah, that's what it takes. And trust me, AI will not take all our jobs. This kind of mindset will take our jobs if we just talk about scope, time, and cost. We should transform the way we think, right? Yeah. So I have some reflection questions. Maybe you can take a screenshot of this and go back and think about it. But I really don't want to discuss this right now in the interest of time. The questions are like, are you currently already facing these? The distinction between your physical boundary and the digital boundary is getting blurred, right? Has AI taken over your jobs fully, and how is it supporting you in your project planning? And what's the capability gap in your team, right? This is again a main big problem, right? And how is your organization grappling with it? These are some reflection points to think about on whatever I have explained so far. And this also, I think I briefly mentioned, the opportunities in front of us will come from or the physical, digital, and environmental aspect of it. And we have to converge. Our ideas have to converge. It cannot be standalone. We cannot be, regular project managers. We have to be project managers who embody all of this. And finally, what do we need for the next generation? right? I've just made a small summary. I'm talking about it from a 2030 and 2035 point of view. Let me quickly go through and then talk about it one shot. So yes, we need to talk about technology. We need to talk about sustainability. We need to talk about infrastructure. We need to talk about economics, right? And again, why economics is very important for tomorrow's project manager, because you're not going to handle small projects anymore. You're going to handle very, very large budgets. And if you're not equipped to handle large budgets, these opportunities will go to others, right? And that's why, again, the economics, is a skill set. It's a very, very fundamental skill sets that all project managers must 100% embrace. Start thinking big budgets, start equipping yourself for big budgets, and undertake programs that focus on big managing big budgets and the finance aspect of it, and that will give you an edge in your job search as well. And then public policy, right? Public policy, why is this important? Like when I briefly told you about Singapore regulations, and what's happening in Thailand and Vietnam, how their data policies are getting changed. That means all their jobs are very heavily reliant or dependent on public policies. It's the same in India as well, right? Now, at least in the last 2 years, a lot of regulations have been published and have been enforced, from the environmental aspects of it, from the data aspects of it, by the Indian government. Really, I really appreciate that. And we need to be on top of all of that so that the projects we do are all compliant with those policies. And AI, it's a no-brainer, right? We have to be skilled. We don't All of us don't have to build AI systems, but we at least need to know how to use it, how to leverage it, when and where and how much. This we did talk about it earlier, so I will skip that. And then my 5 predictions for the next at least 10 to 15 years is AI will become the number one infrastructure demand driver. It's already there. Like, this is already the past, if you ask me, last 1 year, 1+ year, right? And a whole country's strategy will be based on the infrastructure investments that are coming in for AI. I'm sure India's strategies and policies will also change to support the new investments that are coming in. It's the same for all countries. And then the data centers become national strategic assets. Like I said, we cannot think of data centers as just standalone facilities, and hacking or warfare could happen from data centers. So it is a big deal. Every data center could become a national strategic asset, right? Like targeting data centers, we saw that in the Middle East, right? When In the last 3 months, 3 to 4 months, we've seen how the data centers of big companies were getting attacked, and how companies of very, very large investors were getting attacked, simply because that's a strategic warfare approach, and anything could change. And then carbon becomes a managed project metric. Going forward, every project you do, I'm sure there'll be a KPI to show your earth efficiency, your carbon efficiency. What it means for different things will vary. And then digital twins become standard practice. It's not just a technology, it becomes a mindset. And finally, sustainability is not just an environmental aspect, it's a mindset. Sustainable as a project, sustainable in operations, sustainable for users, sustainable to continue it long after it was completed, and sustainability as a mindset, be it like in designing it or financing it, all the way up to its end of its life cycle and beyond. So sustainability is has to be embedded in every decision, not just what I'm talking about. It's not sustainability as in sustainability of whatever we are doing. How does the project that we do be sustainable for the next 20 years or during its entire life cycle that it has been planned for? And finally, my last words, infrastructure, like I said, has already been redefined. We cannot think the same way we thought 5 years ago. And AI will not be treated as a software anymore. AI has to be seen as an infrastructure, and how we can get our opportunities from there as project managers. And Southeast Asia is at the brink of the next wave. All the massive investments are happening in Southeast Asia. Your jobs are going to come from there. Look out for those kinds of investments, and approach those jobs differently. And finally, the technology itself is not ready. Technology is trying to catch up with the actual ground situation, and again, that is our opportunity for jobs and projects. And final thought, we are no longer building projects, right? We are building infrastructure that the future generations will depend on. And that's the fact. It's no longer one project. It's no longer a short-term project. It's no longer what it is during the life cycle. It's like how this project will have an impact for the next generations. And then whatever decisions we make, right? Where do we invest? How do we build? How do we measure success? All this will define the next generation. And it's our responsibility. A project manager's job is the most responsible job in an entire project. And not just in a project, right? If you see, without a proper direction, nothing can go properly. And that's why a project manager is the most critical resource for an organization who wants to do anything useful or productive or fruitful. And that means we also have to take our jobs from a serious responsibility perspective. And like I said, just do one project sincerely, one project sustainably, one project responsibly. Your other projects and other jobs, you don't have to apply. People will come looking for you, because just like how we need jobs, people also need people to do their jobs, right? And that's one, if you ask me, one last trick from my career. It has been like I've taken always my all my projects very, very seriously. I've always been very proud of my projects, and I've always had a voice, and I had to always take credit for whatever I have done, for whatever my team has done. I've never let people get away with not giving the credit that I rightfully deserve. And standing up for myself has always ensured that people see me differently, that people value the work that I have done. And I'm not no longer, just a girl who did a project, and, the credit is taken by somebody. I will never let that happen. I get quite aggressive, when I don't get the credits that I deserve. And I think standing up for myself as a project manager has actually seen the way people see me. Right. And if I take pride in what I do, then people naturally give me the respect that I deserve. And that's the last final thought that I want to leave you guys with. And let's, before we go into questions, I have like a little exercise for you guys. Renu, are we ready for this? Do we?
Hello, hi. So, what is this exercise?
Yeah.
Sorry
So
about.
before we go into questions, let's take the next 5 minutes. And I want to do the small exercise with the group here.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay, sure. So now this is a question for everybody, okay? Every single one of you who's on the call, I want you to do this exercise with me. Take a pen and paper or in your notepad, do this exercise with me, please. This is for self reflection. So now you are the CEO of a city. We're talking about a smart city. You are the CEO of a city, right? And you have 10 billion in capital to deploy. World Bank is giving you 10 million and making you the CEO of this city, right? Smart city project. And then the future of your city depends on the choices you make today. Where do you think you will invest and why? I have given some options here. If you have other options also, you can write. Where would you invest if you were the CEO of a city?
Do you want people to type in the chat window or
Yeah,
in
they
the
can
paper
type in the
question?
chat. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, guys, you can please start typing in your chat window. So many people are mentioning water. I hope you are able to see the chat
No,
window.
I'm still sharing my screen, so I'm not able to see
Okay.
what's happening. Yeah, maybe we'll
Okay.
give them 2 more minutes and then we will
Yeah.
discuss. Is that okay?
Yeah, maybe we can go through the chat window.
All right. Let me stop sharing and go to the chat window. Okay. Yeah. So water, people. By road infrastructure, everywhere road infrastructure. Road, AI, transportation, water, power, water all together, salination plants and interconnecting rivers, awareness trainings, future long needs to be all. I'll invest in sustainable digital infra. Rest is already taken care by larger government projects, salination plants and road infrastructure, all within a cohesive water first, all together. Yeah, yeah, balance approach, water, then power, then transportation, AI, cyber security in that list. Yeah, nice. Water 15%, transportation 25%, power 15%, digital infrastructure 15%, AI infrastructure 15%, data center 15%, skilling people, providing relevant road infra. Right. So yeah, it's a different thought process, right? But um, if you ask me, this is not all like someone says we need to have more in this list, which is actually my answer as well. If I had to invest 10 billion um in this, I would only invest 30%. I would invest 30% in, in the things that I've listed there. The remaining 70% are the unknown things, right? There's so much more than that, just what I have listed there. And for a smart city to be sustainable, it needs processes, it needs, monitoring things, monitoring systems, so many things it needs to make all of that work. So yeah, but this is just a little exercise. There's no right or wrong answers, and what works for one city might not work for another city. Like somebody rightly said, right, in the chat, somebody said that I will invest in digital, sustainable digital things. Rest is already taken by care by larger government projects. Maybe it's true for certain cities, right? So we just need to be smart. And this is again being a CEO is like very important, right? In making the right decisions. You don't have to spend your money on everything, right? Be smart enough to get other people to do other things. While you can free up your own resources for the things that you really need. That's another smart way of seeing this. Well, yeah, but I think it was overall mindset is already there. I think, and I think I spoke a lot. I almost 1 hour plus. And you must be bored with me. If you have questions, I'm happy to take.
So,
Yeah,
yeah,
let's.
sorry, you are asking me anything?
I think
I think someone
Dhananjay.
has raised, yeah.
Yeah,
So Neil, if you can ask Dhananjay to help Dhananjay to unmute. Dhananjay, can you please? I think now you should be
Hi.
able to unmute. Yeah, yeah.
Yes, Renu. Thank you. Thank you.
hi,
Hi, Geeta.
Dhananjay.
Good morning.
Hi.
That was a
How?
great session, I would say. I'm a part of
I
data
spoke a
center.
lot. I'm so sorry. I must have bored you guys.
No, no, it was quite informative. I've loved it. I'm a part of a team who have deployed data center in India. Since
Mm-hmm.
you have a good exposure on international part, did you get a chance to work on any data center development in India? Because compared to Singapore and India, I know India has a lot of land and the other possibility, but the basic infrastructure is missing at multiple locations. So if you had any opportunity to work on data center development in India, you can just help us with that. Any experience that you have?
I have managed data centers in India, managed, but I've not built data centers or in India. But during my time in Mercedes-Benz, India was also one of our markets, right? We used to have data centers, this thing a data center presence in India. We used to manage it, but I've not built anything there. Like I said, right, the only opportunity that came to me was, a couple of months ago, saying that they have land and they want me to, develop a data center park with them, and I refused it because I was a bit scared to go into that without knowing the basic. You rightly said, right? Like we have the basic infrastructure is not there. See, if the roads infrastructure is not proper, if the water infrastructure is not proper, if you're taking the water or that belongs to the groundwater, that actually if you suck it out from your with your massive bore wells, and that's going to deplete the household water like 10 kilometers away, that's a very bad thing. And sadly, who does that kind of research? And who has the integrity to do that kind of research to say, no, 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 I'm not polluting the earth. I have my own water resources. I'm doing using alternate sources of electricity or power, etc. Right? No, corporates don't think that way. So it's a I'm not sure how how to answer your question, but honestly, I'm quite scared to explore it.
Okay, thanks anyway, because I've been part of Daimler also for the UAE team.
Uh-huh.
I was maintaining a municipality's data center at that time, and I had an opportunity to work with Infosys for the Daimler data centers.
I
So
see.
I just thought I'll just ask you if you have any challenges with respect to India, because India is trying to put themselves on data center map hugely because of like the current experiences people that we have, the land that we have, and the infrastructure is also getting ramp up with the latest technology and the latest possibilities. That is why I said if you had any experience, maybe if we come across any project in the future, maybe we can
Oh,
work on
you
that.
can. I am still a consultant. You can still reach out to me.
Okay, great. Thank you, Geeta.
Thank
Thank you
you,
for your insight.
Dhananjay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dhananjay. I think Ashish, she has raised her hand. Ashish, if you can unmute.
Yes, thank you, Renu ma'am. Geeta ma'am, amazing session.
Thank
When I
you.
signed up for this, I didn't know what to expect. I thought this might be just another AI and sustainability related discussion, but the way you have brought the topics in from a project manager's lens, uh, you have given me a lot of food for thought. So
Oh,
very quickly, I am Ashish Parampil, and I am the go-to-market project manager for General Mills. It's a US food manufacturing company. And I have posted 2 to 3 questions in the QA session. So maybe I hope the team also looks into that. One open mic question for you. Given how AI, sustainability, and digital infrastructure are converging, what skills do you think project managers like us must build today to stay relevant over the next 5 to 10 years? Thank you.
thank you for your kind words, Ashish. Like you rightly said, these technologies are converging. That is the first mindset you should have, right? Maybe sustainability, AI, and then the digital services, all of it are converging today. Can you learn and pick up all the technologies? Can you write AI code? For sure not, right? No need
So,
for everybody to learn every technology. But how can you leverage? But do you understand those technologies from a user perspective, from a business perspective? What is the trade-off for the organization to have these kinds of technologies in place? This is a project manager new mindset, right? Yes, I'm using these three topics are converging, and I'm a project manager. I don't know to write code. I'm not able to adapt or AI, learn AI. I cannot learn AI or to write AI codes right now. But what can I do? Do I understand its impact? Can I verbalize or vocalize or articulate its impact for the business? Can I articulate the impact of those technologies on my projects? Can I convince my businesses and my leaders and my stakeholders on the impact of these technologies that we are using? If you're a project manager who can do all of this, verbalizing, vocalizing the technologies that you use, you will already stand out, right? People will want to naturally consult you, not just as a project manager to ask for your status, but as somebody who sees beyond the scope, time, and cost and who understands what he's delivering. That is the first mindset. We don't have to write a single line of code. You can get the people to write lines of code to work for you as a project manager, but you need to understand their job. What are they doing? What is the impact of them not doing their job? That will set you apart. So that is why
Amazing.
I will never, if somebody asks me, can you fix this code? I'll say, I'll not fix this code because that's not my job. Ask me to explain it, I'll explain it to you. How it works, I will explain to you. Where is the issue? You ask me, I will explain. But I will, so that sometimes, people put us into hot spots, right? As a project manager, they will explain you to even fix the code for them. You should stand up for yourself and say, no, it's not my job. I have a technical head who can do that for you. I'll get it done for you in one day. And that confidence also, is needed when there are issues, when there are problems.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much.
Okay, I think let's move on with the questions. Let me just open Q&A section. And yeah, I think the first question itself I can see from Ashish. How do you think project risk frameworks must evolve to defend cyber physical sustainability threats? And what muscle do we PMs need to build for managing cyber risk?
Where is this question? I'm not able to see
Q&A,
it.
can you see that in the Q&A section up in the toolbar? There will be uh, beside the chat there is Q&A.
Or if you don't mind, can you share your screen, please?
Okay, sure. But I don't know whether the Teams window would itself be shared, but let me see. Okay. Let me know if you are able to see my screen.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just maximize it. Okay, now my window is not getting maximized. Okay. I don't think so. I am able to share my Teams screen with you. But I have just read out the question for you.
Yeah, okay, sure. So sorry, I am not able to see this. And see, I'm not able to follow also. That's the problem.
Okay.
Mm,
Uh-huh. So let me repeat the question. How do you think project risk frameworks must evolve to defend cyber physical sustainability threats? And what muscle do we PMs need to build for managing cyber risk?
oh, right. Oh, it's a very, very important question, right? And I will tell you, I'll give you one example, some examples in the past of how this has actually surfaced as a project manager. You don't see the cyber risks at the project stage. Who sees the cyber risks or who faces the impact of the cyber risk? Operations teams, right? Because you do a project and you deliver a project with as per scope, time, cost. And also you have a mindset, you have you have done everything great, your project is perfect on paper, goes into operations, right? And then during operations, um, there is some of the vulnerabilities, for example, are not getting addressed by the operations team. What will happen? Those definitely will get flagged, right? Those vulnerabilities will get flagged in if you have a good reporting practice in your organization. Sometimes people still don't act on it. I've seen that even happening in corporate companies, big organizations. And simply because either there'll be legacy system, if you touch it, it will break many things. So people will just sign off and keep it aside. And then one day when the actual impact happens, when a cyber threat actually happens, and the first person to get hit is not the project manager, because the project manager is already delivered and gone. It's the operations guy, right? The operations team, then the management, the IT, the technical responsible, then the CEO. They are the ones who get impacted by this, and of course the users as well, right? But at that point of time, can the project manager be blamed for this? You didn't do the project properly, that is why there was a hack. Yeah, there could be some situations like that, but in majority of the cases, it's the regular operational things that lead to cybersecurity attacks. And as project managers, what can we do about it so that nobody blames us after we are gone? Is to ensure in the project stage itself, you put cybersecurity practices for operations right at the project stage itself. This my scope. When you are handing over to operations, this has to continue. So documentation actually helps project managers to manage or avoid these kinds of risks, thinking this through what could happen in the future and pushing that accountability or responsibility to the operations team when they take over. So that at least when you're doing the project, you have done it right, and then you've moved on to operations where it becomes their responsibility to take it on and sustain it from there. So that it's not just a project manager's problem. That is one aspect of it, right? Where the in operational inefficiencies have cyber risks. You have projects itself which don't think through of what are the things that could come up during the operation stage or even during the project stage itself. The risks, cybersecurity risks at the build stage, at the project development stage, that is entirely the project manager's fault. At least operational issues, the project manager could handle it through documentation, through procedures that is he has built beforehand proactively. But the issues that happen or the risks that happen because of non-delivery of something or not thinking things through, complex systems being built into projects. There's a concept of complexity management, right? Sometimes what we do is, because we like to keep things simple, we will only go up to a certain level. After that, we will close our eyes, saying, no, let the operations team handle it. Or, when this is too much, I'm thinking too much in the future. But if there is a possibility, you're able to see the impact and manage complexities right at the project stage, that will make you a sought after project manager. That will avoid all the cybersecurity risks. There is no framework, I can confidently tell you, which tells you how to manage risks from a cybersecurity perspective at the project stage. There's none. You have either the risk framework or you have the cybersecurity framework. Nobody has actually matched both. That's definitely a research topic, and then it's a vast topic as well.
Thank you, Geeta. Ashish, I have unmuted. I've allowed you to, if you can unmute yourself and maybe you can ask your questions. So many questions are there from your side.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
Renu, I think just to be fair to the other participants, I will
Okay.
just pick up a question from one of our fellow PMs. Let me just go down to the Q&A section. Okay, one question is from Leo Coco. Geeta, at what point do you believe we will really consider impacts to the environment as technology is being used to feed the perceived need for humanity, wanting to do more in less time and make more money?
It's the
So that's
double-edged sword that Leo has asked. Yeah. Well, I don't have an answer, Ashish, to be honest, because every day I myself go through these decisions, right? Where sometimes I have to, as a consultant, though I raise all the red flags and etc., sometimes I also have to think from my customer's perspective, my client's perspective, right? If I'm always the person who's only raising the red flags, do you think anybody will want to work with me? But at the same time, I do audits, right? I'm answerable to audits. And can I close my eyes to do audits? No, I have to do the right things so that there's a balance, right? There's no compromise on requirements, on regulations, on guidelines. But what we can compromise is it's only the competitive or the commercial gains. So I always try to find a balance. My stand will always be whatever is a regulation, whatever is a requirement, whatever is a compliance standard, 100% we must comply. No other way. If you're not able to comply, I don't want to work with you. I'll be very direct. I don't want to continue this contract simply because, what you're asking is non-compliance, is non-regulatory. I mean, sorry, non-compliant with regulations. So I will just, remove myself from the picture so that At least I have warned, and then I no longer want to be part of it. But will that stop my clients from going to other people who would do that? No. They will always find other people who will be willing to close their eyes to do that. And what is the impact? For me, I have lost a contract, but I actually have done the right thing. But for them, they've made business, right? They've not stuck with one consultant who kept saying, oh, compliance, oh, regulations. They've made money. And for their company, it's good. So it's a conscious, it's a human thing. And we should, in my opinion, we should work with only those people who take integrity and compliance seriously. And as project managers, we should have that mindset. We will only do the right things.
Uh,
Yeah.
so, Ashish, I will just hold you for a while. We have one more question. Subramaniam, if you can unmute yourself and continue with your question.
Hi, Geeta.
Hi.
Good morning to you.
Hi.
Hopefully we share the same university we come from. I was just seeing your background. You are from another university, and so am I.
Hi.
My question to you, there are two questions that I have in mind, and the first question is, how do you tackle questions regarding the usage of AI when it comes from Generation X? Probably, um, people who think AI could eat their jobs. I mean, let's say a person who is experienced more than us is it's in the year of he born in 1966 or 1965. Because most of the times I mean, I do have people who carry 40 years of management experience, and they say we are afraid of AI at this point of time. So
Yeah, for sure, I see two kinds of people in that generation. One is the type that you say, I'm so scared of, how it is going to affect our company, how it's going to affect my job, or how the youngsters are going to take our job. That's one kind, right? The other kind is the people who want to ride on that wave, the more aggressive ones, right? Like, hey, let's do, for the sake of doing AI, let's do AI.
true.
Right? Just let's do some things and make it look like an AI thing. So I have to put up with two kinds of people actually.
True.
Yeah.
Yes. A lot of
Mm.
times they say we normally tell them that you are the people who are driving the AI, not the other way around.
Exactly. AI is used only when it is of use. Otherwise, what is the
True.
point? Everything doesn't need rocket science, right?
True.
Right? Like we don't need
True.
rocket science to live our lives.
True.
Rocket science is used by rocket scientists. Like that
True.
doesn't mean we should all go die, right? Like everybody needs to have a life, and you can decide what is reasonable for you, what is needed for you for your own life. Similarly, the context of AI, I always tell people, please don't use AI for the sake of AI. If you need support from AI, take the right technologies and use it as much as you need. But don't base your whole company on AI transformations, and don't base your whole career on AI transformations, and don't put all your money on AI. Not everybody needs AI. And trust me, if everything fails in this world, right? If one day when everything breaks, today it's like this on the AI way. One day it will hit the peak and it will fall.
True.
And that day, what will happen?
True.
That means
Um,
you will have no water, you will have no power, there will be some natural calamity because of this, and no longer AI.
that's absolutely true. The second
So
question is quietly away from AI. I mean, I come from a background which we are into biofuels. And how Singapore looks, I mean, through the lenses of sustainability, uh, by not being dependent on other countries. I mean, as of current date, I mean, most countries like Latin American countries, they are trying to be dependent on their own resources rather being importing things. So how is Singapore at that perspective?
I think everybody should, should learn from Singapore in that aspect, right? They are a very, very, rational country. And in fact, I always like learn from Singapore, not as not, I look at it with so much awe because the mindset is very, very different. And to answer your question, they will not see it like, oh, we should not be dependent on others. They are very rational people who think, how can we use the strength of others for our own benefits? How can we give and take? How can we, use the strengths or the resources of our neighboring countries? Example, Malaysia is across the border, right? The resources are plentiful in Malaysia. Similarly, in Indonesia, across the border, across the sea, we have Indonesia in the south, and then in the north, we have Malaysia. They have very strong strategic partnerships with these two countries because of their natural resources. Even water Singapore buys from Malaysia. They have a pact. And for the last 40, 50 years, they've been buying water from Malaysia. And it's only been working very well for them. They do conserve. They do have reservoirs and, their own conservation efforts. But they do not forget that they cannot sustain on their own. And they make it as a national mindset. The way they promote is, we are a small country. We have our own resources too. We are trying our best to bring our own resources too. But don't forget, we need to be friendly with all our neighboring countries, and support them so that they support us. What a mature mindset. That shows in their foreign policies, and that shows in the way they have organized their job market, etc. Like Singapore buys resources from these countries, and people from those countries cross the border every day, to work in Singapore so that they can earn in Singapore dollars, which is almost 3 times more than, the Malaysian ringgit. So it's like a give and take, right? I give you job opportunities. I give you some form of economic advancement. And in return, these are the, resources that we take from you. So it's a very smart mindset. It's like, no, I cannot sustain on my own and I need everybody. And they promote it in their country.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sachin, if you would like to come on mic and would like to know your question, or anyone else? I see Sachin Patil has put in his question. If you can want to unmute, please do raise your hand, or I can read it. Although I think probably you have answered that question, but I will, yeah, but Sachin, I will just unmute. Yeah, please go ahead, Sachin. Go ahead, Sachin. Sachin, you will have to unmute, and I
All
have
right. Can
given
you guys
you.
hear me?
Hi,
Yes,
Sachin. Hi.
Yeah.
Hey,
Please go
Geeta.
ahead.
Good afternoon. First of all, thank you very much for, like others have also commented before, nicely starting with the infrastructure, moving towards, what is happening in this world right now and how do we cope up with the changes as project managers. And that kind of answered my first couple of questions, which were around how the requirements and asks have changed for the last 2 decades. I do want to understand a couple of examples, or maybe what are you seeing in the AI world that's helping you bring these, changes faster, or how is, this new requirements, new sustainability challenges that are coming up are helped by AI when you go and consult people? Are you using AI? You said you have access to a lot of AI tools, so building on that.
100%, right? First of all, thank you for your kind words, Sachin. Yeah. Like I always try to, show reality. It's not, everything is not a bed of roses, right? Like, and in my profession, I have to be very careful, right? Just to make money, I cannot just say things and, get projects. yes, I can make money temporarily, but then the reputation will be lost, right? So I always put all the pros and cons. Whatever I do, I will always put the pros and cons in front of the client and help them to make an informed decision, right? You decide. This is the impact. This is the money you are going to make, but this is the impact that you're going to cause. And these are to overcome this impact. This is the money you would have to spend, or this is your reputational loss if you go ahead in this path. And you decide. And like mostly, if you put people in that kind of situations where you are explicit, people tend to make the right decisions, right? Because now it's like, oh, you're answering, you're signing on the dotted line. So that is what I try to make consciously. And that's what I try to do today as well. It's not about how great AI is, how much money it helps us to make, but it's like the reality, the dark side as well, so that not everything is a good opportunity. Not every opportunity that comes to us is a good opportunity, and we need to be conscious for the next generation. So now, coming back to AI, I do use a lot of tools. I've basically tried all the tools, and like I said, I'm a one-man company. I don't have any employees. I'm just a consultant, an individual consultant, and who has certain skill sets. I've registered a company here. I have 0 employees, and everything I take as service. My accounting is as a service. My annual reporting is as a service. My secretaryship is as a service, and whatever projects I do, I just hire. If I have to, rely on external help for specific things, I will hire freelancers from my own network. I have a lot of friends in different with different skill sets. I just hire from my own network, finish the work, and then it's just a contract, freelancing contracts I do. That is my business model. But how do I run a company like that? How do I have a very thriving business with one-man army, right? One person. That's simply because I rely on tools, not just service providers, but I also have partners. And then I also have, not everything is not a tool, is what I'm trying to say. I take services, I take partners, meaning I say like part of my job is audit, right? I'm an auditor myself. I have ISO 14064 certification, but I don't do all the audits. I have a third party auditing company to whom I outsource the auditing part of it. So it's a arm's length relationship. So yes, I also make money. They also make money. And then the tools are the last in that scale. Service, partners, and then the tools are like chat gpt, and then your gamma, and then your what are the other tools I use, sleek, and so on. So these are all some of the tools that I'm personally using. And I have no shame in admitting, yes, I use AI to generate a lot of my work, right? The content that I use in my reporting, etc. I cannot sit and write everything. 250-page documents I have to write for every report I make. Do you think I have the time? Am I stupid enough to write that on my own? Of course not. But I'm smart enough to use those tools smartly so that I get the output I get. I cannot get AI to generate a 250-page document for me. Impossible. But what I can do is use AI to generate paragraph after paragraph the way I want. So instead of me sitting and proofreading and formatting and everything, I do use AI. And I'm very, I have no shame about it. And I also tell my clients, do not expect me not to work with AI. If that is your requirement, please find someone else, because this is the model I work. I have to rely on external tools to generate some content, and it's my job or responsibility to ensure that the content I generate are proofread and validated by me.
Yeah,
Wonderful. Thank you for
yeah,
saying that we should smartly use the tools and also sharing the recommendations. I think that makes a lot more sense. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
thank you.
Back to you, Renu.
Yeah, thank you, Sachin. Before I jump to Ashish, there's a general question from Arun Jadhav. I would say nothing related to sustainability, but general question about AI. If a company has signed a non-disclosure agreement (NDA), would it be considered a breach of the NDA if an employee uploads or uses the project data on an AI platform to analyze it for improvement about project benefits?
100%. 100%. If you have signed non-disclosure agreement, even whether you have signed non-disclosure agreements or not, right? The moment you're uploading somebody else's data somewhere else, right? Especially an external tool, then it becomes already a violation. So which is why we have to be smart about what data, how much, etc. that we are uploading. It's a conscious choice that we have to make. And organizations now have, like, the corporate versions, right, of AI tools where the data resides within their this thing. So if we are, our company is like, for example, I cannot afford to have like an individual enterprise version. I use the paid, very high end paid versions, which are like quite expensive for an individual user, but that is a maximum I can do, right? And that disclosure, I inform my clients, so they know that I'm doing this. But some information which I logically know I should not be even asking an AI chatbot, I will not use it. That's due diligence, right? And if we get into trouble, it will be serious trouble. Like all the way up to legal proceedings. We must not forget that, whether we signed NDA or not.
Thank you so much, Geeta ma'am. Ashish Parampil. I know we are just about at time, but thank you, Renu ma'am, for having this open mind. Geeta ma'am, being a go-to project manager myself, I strive to be functionally agnostic, which itself is a tough balancing act. Now, what would you advise to me to become industry agnostic as well in this AI and sustainability world? And what upskilling is required to be successful here?
Actually, this is the mindset that I was talking about, right? Like we should no longer look at it from, I am an infrastructure project manager, I am an application project manager, I am a construction project manager, right? It should be like industry, because there is there's a convergence already. This is the mindset that first of all we need to have, right? And in interviews, people ask questions like, hey, you are from the infrastructure background, how can you do application project management? How do you answer that with the mindset that you just brought up? Today industries are all agnostic. Today a beer company, a company which produces beer, right, cannot function without cloud infrastructure, without AI. So that does that mean that the person is a beer expert? No, the person is still a technology expert, because he is able to sell beer with technology. He's able to sell, increase the sales by 50%, help his company to increase sales by 50% by technology. That's the mindset. If people ask me, what do you do in the carbon market? How do you make a change with coming from a data center background? This is what I say. Doesn't matter. Carbon is not rocket science. I tell people this. Carbon is not rocket science. Here also, in fact, you guys are 10 years behind. I tell people, you go to data centers and go to AI and see what technologies you use. And in carbon markets, you're just dealing with, blockchain. That is your biggest advancement so far. So what is it that, the carbon market has extra that we don't have in the other markets? So it's a mindset, right? How do you approach with confidence?
Yeah. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah. And one more thing, Ashish, money, finances, economics is a language which will speak in all industries. If you could tell in an interview, I have managed $10 million budget and saved 20% of it, 30% of it for this project, I can do the same for you. They will not see what industry you come from. Right? That's another like mindset.
Amazing. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Geeta. Thank you, Ashish, and thank you everyone for this interactive session.
Renu, if you don't mind, can we all take a photo? It's my souvenir.
Yeah, of course. But actually, people have now right now they are. I mean, the camera is disabled for everyone.
No, we can just like bring everybody in some of the chapters to that.
Okay, because I'm not sure if everyone we can do this bulk camera access. Sunil, if you have any option, I think everyone can enable it now. Most of the people have started.
Yes,
there's
yes,
one
we can.
Yeah, I think
Yes,
there's one
yes,
gallery view, right?
yes, yes. Gallery. Okay, so if I think everyone has got that access, so if you can
Yes.
come on the screen, it would be great. Thank you, everyone. Let me take some screenshots as well. Come on, all of you, please do come on the screen and let's have a wonderful photo session. Smiling faces. Hello, cheese, he. You can all say whatever you like. Let's have some smiling faces. All of you. Uh, yeah. Okay. I'll just randomly pick few. Camera issues, okay, no problem. I understand. Uh, Maybe next time we will have some way where we can, switch on our cameras. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It
Okay,
was,
so
uh,
that was
um,
lovely seeing you all. Yeah.
may I, Renu, I have, if you don't mind, I would like to share my, my LinkedIn. So anybody who wants to connect with me can, may I
Yes,
quickly
yes,
present
please.
that and before we
Yeah,
close?
yeah. Before we close, I have some other things as well to share. So yeah, you can quickly share
Just
your
one
screen.
second, I will show this, and then if you are not already connected with me, kindly reach out to me.
Okay, thank you. Let me quickly share my screen and let's. Okay, I hope everyone is able to see my screen. So thank you. It was a lovely interactive session, Geeta. We loved actually interacting, and this was some today. It was a little different. So thank you so much. Uh, and so Geeta, we are as a token of appreciation, we will be presenting you this certificate. I will be emailing you the soft copy of a digital version of this certificate to you. Uh, and please do accept it. And last, I really thank the speaker. And today we have from our technology side, we have Sunil and Mitra and Amod who are, handling this technical part of it. So thank you, really appreciate for setting up this teams and helping us around. Uh, and yeah, if you have, I think many of the people had today issues with joining the session early. So if you have missed out something, please do visit our YouTube channel, and this is our YouTube QR code. You can revisit our session on this YouTube channel. So hopefully you don't miss out anything. And yes, regarding the PDUs, you would be getting an email. This is also our feedback link, and please, I love hearing from you. I see a lot of good, feedbacks on the chat window, but please do share it on our feedback official link as well, so future sessions can be planned accordingly. I think we have also shared the feedback link, so please do quickly scan. I'll just wait for 5 seconds. And please do quickly scan it and please click on the link shared on the chat window. I hope everyone has scanned it. And thank you all for being a great audience. Thank you very much.
Thank you for this
And
opportunity, PMI Mumbai team. It's my great pleasure. Mumbai is already always amazing. I'm a Sai Baba devotee, so I keep coming to Maharashtra all the time. Next time I will come and visit you guys in person.
It would be lovely, 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 Geeta. Whenever do let us know when you are in Mumbai. Maybe we can have an interactive session also planned offline as well. So
100%.
yeah,
Pleasure. And
thank
yeah,
you.
Renu, can I ask for one favor? Please, can
Yeah.
you post, because I'm not able to post in the chat. I would like to post
Mhm.
my LinkedIn link. If you can help to post
I
this,
will
so
post
it's
it. Sure, sure, sure. I will just post it. Give me a moment. So,
ah,
just for everyone, we have another session also coming up on pit stop session on 12th of August. So we have this theme. So this month we had sustainability theme, and the next month we have customer centric project delivery and benefits realization. So see you on 12th August. The next session was on pit stop. Thank you very much. Meanwhile, let me just give me a moment and I will just share the link of Geeta Madam as well. LinkedIn. So I have shared the LinkedIn address for Geeta Ma'am as well. So please do connect with Geeta. Please keep asking her questions as well. If some of them are missed out in the session.
yeah, please do.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye. Good day, guys.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Have a
Bye.
good day and join
Good
us
day.
join us on 20th August. Thank you. Bye bye.